Hi, everyone. Marc Canton here, joining you from the floor of the Government Fleet Expo 2026 here in Long Beach, California. We have an awesome show for you today. I'm going to be joined by the OG, the original host, the founder of our podcast and the founder of our company, Josh Turley, CEO of RTA Fleet, the Fleet Success Company, and we are going to be talking about all things AI, what you should already be doing with AI, what you need to know, what's coming, and some really neat and cool things we're doing with AI, both in our everyday work and in our software. So let's get into it. You're going to love this episode.
This is a Fleet Success Show, dedicated to helping you and your fleet succeed using the experience of fleet professionals and Hall of Fame fleet legends. The show that explores how the pillars of stakeholder satisfaction, intentional culture, resource efficiency, and risk management all combine to lead your fleet to success. We're glad you're here. Now, let's get into the show.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Fleet Success Show. I am your host today. I am playing a role change with the big man himself, Marc Canton, VP of Fleet Strategy, and I'm joined by our CEO at RTA Fleet, Josh Turley. How you doing, Josh?
Hey, it's good to be here on the other side of the table.
Yeah, we're doing a little swap. You're usually you're the OG, you're the original host, right? You're the founder not only of the company but of the podcast and the evangelism to the industry. So, hey, thanks for joining me today, I guess I have to say, which feels a little weird. Man, you really are at the forefront of AI, right? That's kind of, you're busy running a company and a CEO, but you're, with any organization, you talk about it a lot in previous talk, it's your job is the vision. Your job is to make sure that we're pointed in the right direction, rowing in the right direction. And so you take it very seriously about trying to be out in front of the technology world, with fleet, with software, with other things. And so you've been really kind of zoned into AI for a while now. And that's clearly the buzz. That's the thing everybody sort of wants to hear about and wants to talk about. So I thought I would just have you on and, kind of let it rip. Let's talk AI.
All right. So, my big philosophy around that is that leaders need to know the way, they need to show the way, and they got to go the way. And AI is one of those big moments that it can overwhelm you because of just how big it is, how fast it's changing. I've definitely felt that pressure. There's people on my team who know a lot more than I do, thankfully. But I'm a voracious appetite and learner. And so I just constantly am trying to figure out what else is out there. How do I go learn more and learn how to learn? There's a big piece with AI is that you don't necessarily learn it in the same traditional ways. So out in front and really trying to get the team to adopt it. And even in our own product, like how do we leverage this and make sure that these tools, we're making them available to our customers?
Sure. So let's key on that for a second, that learn how to learn it, right? Like, because you're right, because, folks will hear technology, new technology, they'll be intimidated by it, and they almost run away from it, right? They don't even look at it, and so there's judgments being made without even understanding it, or
they might use it once, they have a bad experience,
right,
and they never go back again.
Exactly.
Or it's just constant. It's like, oh yeah, I tried that a year ago or 2 years ago, and it's the way that this is so rapidly changing is the capabilities are increasing exponentially.
Right.
And if you used ChatGPT a year ago, it is not the same ChatGPT today. Right. If you used, I went through this motion. We were using ChatGPT pretty heavily. We were running into issues with, we call it sycophancy, which is where AI is kind of the yes man. Right. And I think everybody's experienced that with ChatGPT is like, you have a terrible idea and it's just like, you're amazing. And this is the best idea since sliced bread.
Right.
Right. Yeah, where it's like inducing, mental breakdown episodes because it's convincing people they have solved the world's problems. Right.
Right.
And it's like a delusion.
Right.
So we switched everybody over to Claude. But there's an arms race going on right now between all these companies.
Yes.
And so Claude's kind of out in front. And I will tell you in like September, December, when the Opus models dropped, that was a significant step in capabilities from AI models. And then even ChatGPT, as it went from 5.2 to they just dropped 5.5. And that was a significant increase in capabilities from them, where they're now on par with Claude again. Now, Claude then just dropped Fable 5, which is insane to me. It's like, I can't even keep up with this. They had Mythos that they couldn't even release.
Right. Explain that for a quick second. Why couldn't they release it?
So Mythos is their next big model, right? So they had Sonnet and then it's Opus, and then Mythos is the next big one they're working on. And they couldn't release it because it was so good at finding vulnerabilities in software packages that not only could it find them for the good guys, the white hats, if I was a black hat hacker, I could basically deploy Mythos and say, Mythos, I'm going to go point you at a government website, and I want you to find me a way in with their credentials, any system that they have operating that's got a public-facing thing, it was finding vulnerabilities that were 27, 28 years old in companies that were security companies, right? And so they did a really smart thing. I mean, this is where I'm a big Anthropic fan. Say whatever you want about AI companies, but man, those guys, they've got good. I almost don't want to say that, but of all the AI companies, they're probably the most morally centric.
Right. They seem ethical. Right.
They seem ethical. Yeah. There's a whole lot of debate about how ethical any AI company can be, but
right.
And in this case, they said, you know what, we're going to release this just to a select group of very security conscious, like the leaders of technology, right? So Windows, Apple, I want to say CrowdStrike was in there. Like they went to the people that were in charge of securing the world's software,
right,
and said, we're going to let you guys run this internally first and use it to find all these zero-day exploits that Mythos is going to find eventually, right? They still haven't released it. But they released a very pared down, stripped down, we'll call it a handcuffed, tied up and gagged version of Mythos, and they called it Fable.
Okay.
That one just dropped. I haven't even played with that model yet, but they are pushing that one out. So.
Okay. I want to go back a step though, right?
Yep.
Average fleet managers listening, and they're hearing you say how things have jumped in leaps and bounds, right? Like you mentioned, we were using ChatGPT. I was using ChatGPT for a year, and in the beginning, it was a glorified search engine, and then it kind of can give you a little more detail and really kind of work harder to get information. It was helpful because it would cite where it got it from, then you could do some more research. And I think I might have said this on the podcast before. Then you exposed me to Claude, and it just blew my mind, right? Because of the way it could understand context intuitively and implicitly without me having to give it that context, right? So that's an example of how I've experienced the jump, and then of course being able to access other pieces of data and
different tools.
Yeah, and it's almost like the more I ask it to do, the more it can do, and the better it gets, right? But you mentioned a second ago about how they're improving, the models are improving. Bring that down for us, us fleet folks, and what does that mean? How would they experience that, right?
Well, I think the big thing point I was making was that if you tried it once and it didn't work, or it gave you a crap answer, maybe it was hallucinating, right? That's a big thing with AI, is that it's so confident in its answers even when it's wrong.
Right.
And so you look at that and you're like, okay, well, this is clearly not ready for prime time, and so we ignore it.
Right.
But I think the key is just to constantly be aware of it, right, and keep trying it and keep messing with it. The more you spend time with it, the better it gets, as you just mentioned.
Right.
But don't just stay stuck in one tool either.
Right.
I was hearing at the roundtables this morning at we're here at GFX, if you haven't seen that in the episodes, and hear the background noise, but they're at the tables and they're like, oh yeah, well, we just use Copilot.
Right.
And Copilot is the worst of all of them.
I know.
Right?
It's bad.
I don't even have it on my phone.
Sorry,
it's on
Microsoft,
my phone.
Don't sue us.
Whatever. They're not going to hit me for non-disparagement. It's an opinion, right? So, but the key is that, why do they use Copilot? Well, it's because that's what IT bought with their Microsoft licenses, right?
Exactly.
It's just included with 365. It's terrible because it was built off of ChatGPT 3.5.
Right.
And they haven't kept it improving at the same pace that all the other models are improving in.
Right.
And so the key is how do you make sure you're getting access to these models? I know you've talked to Jacob about the security of those things. Yep. And so I think the key is just know that it is improving every day. And just because you had a bad experience last year, try it again.
Right.
You have to stay aware of it because it's not going anywhere. You can't just stick your head in the sand on this one. You've got to be investing in yourself, investing in the time to learn.
Right.
My favorite way to learn the different tools is to have the tools teach me.
Right.
And I'll ask opinions. And Claude's probably the best for this because it is the most, I'll call it neutral, and I'll tell it, I really need you to be neutral and be aware. Tell me honestly where you're good, where another tool is better. And depending on the context, what I need, which tool I should go to, right? So if I want to do YouTube videos, I go to Gemini. If I want to build myself a podcast, or hey, I've got these 20 articles, make me some content that I can go to, Notebook LM, right, which is a Gemini product. If I want to go and learn how to use Claude Code, well, I'm going to have Claude teach me Claude Code.
Which is amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what I did is I actually went through a process with Claude, and I said, Claude, I want you to build me a curriculum, and step by step, I want you to walk me through this stuff, and how do I build this? How do I set this up?
Wow.
And I want you to show me how to go generate this stuff, right? Image generation, by the way, ChatGPT has the best image generation today. Ask me in a month and it could be back to Nano Banana, which is a Google product, right? So, but teach me the fundamentals of it. Teach me how to use these products. and then give me something that I can go use with other tools as well, because I want to compare and contrast. How does ChatGPT Codex compare to Claude Code? When would I use co-work versus a chat versus a code project?
Right.
And I don't know all this stuff. And there's not like YouTube videos. I could go watch them, but man, that takes forever.
Right.
So what I did is I had Claude basically build me workshops and then just walk me through step by step. It's like my own personal mentor and teacher.
That's awesome.
And it tried going really fast once, and I was like, whoa, slow down, because I had an error in step 1, and you're already on step 5.
Right.
Let's work through this together, right? And so, like, give me the steps, and then it's like, all right, now come back with what happened.
Right.
And so I would do something. I was like, nope, I hit this error. I think this is the problem. What do you think? And it's like, yep, you got it. Go find this, change this, and then redo it.
What does it take to build a fleet you're proud to lead? At RTA Connect 2026, you'll learn directly from former fleet leaders, technicians, and industry experts who are solving the same challenges you face every day. Spend 4 days in Chicago, getting hands-on with RTA Fleet 360, exploring AI-powered fleet strategies, learning how top-performing fleets make smarter decisions, and so much more. Connect with hundreds of fleet professionals who understand the pressure of keeping critical services running safely and reliably. Join us October 12th through 16th at the Hyatt Regency O'Hare in Chicago for RTA Connect 2026. Visit rtafleet.com/connect to register today, because this year we will sell out.
Yeah, that's something really neat about Claude, that it asks you for feedback on itself, which is just fascinating, right? I want to try to key on something, though, I think that I'm hearing you say implicitly, right? What's happening now is we're going, we still need to be the master of our domain, right?
100%.
Right? Like, we need to, like you said, if you get back a wrong answer and you're the expert on that answer, then you need to be confident, right? Yeah, you can. So it's different. I think the average person probably has to get over this glorified search engine approach of AI is for me to learn something or get some piece of information, and transition to what I hear you saying, which is helping you do tasks, helping you actually do the work. That's where the major gains are happening, right?
Yeah, you cannot abdicate and outsource your knowledge.
Right.
Right. Yeah. ChatGPT and Claude, they both have access. Like it's like unlimited IQ, right? They have a lot of problem solving capabilities, and they are experts at everything, right? Yes. Except for the things that they're not quite expert in. And it's up to you to figure out the difference, right? If I want to ask Claude about physics, or the other day I was chatting, my kid's 5, and he keeps asking, how 5-year-olds get?
Yes.
Dad,
Yes, I know where you're going.
What's this made of? Why is that made of that, right? All of a sudden I'm learning about quarks and gluon, and like I thought atoms were the building block of the universe, and I was like, well, what are protons made of? And then it was like, well, let me tell you. Now, I'm not a physicist. I don't know anything about molecular biology.
Right.
I know a little bit now, but I couldn't tell you if it was wrong or if it was totally blown smoke.
Right.
And the key is to make sure that you don't totally outsource and abdicate your awareness of where you're supposed to be the domain expert. Right. If you're the fleet manager and you're the fleet management expert, you need to make sure that you stay the fleet management expert.
Right.
Use Claude to help teach you about new concepts, but make sure that you're still using your discernment to figure out and sort out the BS from the not BS. Right. But I do love like just the glorified search engine. I can read, I can learn, I can have it teach me about things I really don't know anything about.
Right.
And then I can go verify that. Do you have any resources or videos that I can go look at to learn more about this topic? And then you're getting other experts that know more about it instead of just relying on ChatGPT's answer.
Yeah. What's cool about, so I'm going to say something, and I want you to tell me if you think it's fair.
Okay.
It's my intuition from working with it that if it's something that's, let's say, widely known and widely documented, and there's tons and tons of books and information, or, so you mentioned physics, right? Gravity is gravity, let's say, right? Like, you can count on AI to be more than likely extremely accurate around that stuff, right? It's the stuff, it's the nooks and crannies, maybe the cutting edge stuff where they're still debating how it really works, or something like fleet, which is relatively niche.
Very domain specific.
So that's where, again, you need to kind of trust your instincts and your intuitions around it.
Yeah, you can't outsource your knowledge, and honestly, it's your accountability too. My board and I were just talking about this. They just sat through one of their first board meetings where it felt like they were in the AI vortex, is the words he used. So I thought it was hilarious. But like, we've seen that internally, is like people putting together presentations with Claude or ChatGPT. I've seen, I saw a really good ChatGPT presentation earlier this week from the keynote stage, and you could just tell the entire thing was 100% generated by ChatGPT. Now, great speakers and presenters won't abdicate that creation. They'll use it as an assistant. But the poor ones, and this is like where you're going to start seeing the wheat and the chaff get separated a little bit, is they will just go to ChatGPT or Claude and be like, this is what I need, build it for me. And then they don't edit it and they walk away and they just take whatever it is and they're like, oh crap. They don't validate the data. They don't verify it. And all of a sudden they're presenting to somebody with what they say is a fact, and it just falls apart upon examination.
Right.
We've had that. Like somebody will generate a presentation and then they say, almost as a defense, and it's the worst defense he could use, oh, well, Claude generated that this morning. Okay, did you not have write access to this PowerPoint?
Right.
Like that just tells me is that you were lazy.
Right.
Not that like, well, I didn't have time to get to it and all this. It's just very different.
Yeah.
We are going to be in that world though. Like you're going to sit through a presentation, you can just tell the entire thing was generated by that, by Claude or by ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting shift, but you cannot abdicate your discernment. You can't abdicate that, oh, well, it did it for me. It was a mistake. Right. That's your mistake. I'm responsible for everything that I put my name on. I don't care if I'm using PowerPoint or Copilot or Claude to generate that thing. If I'm presenting it, I better know my numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. And even on like a personal, one of the things that I've kind of recently begun to really enjoy about it is, if you give it parameters or you give it logic by which you want it to make the decision, it's really, really helpful. So as you know, we were in Disneyland, my family and I, a couple of weeks back. And, back in the day, I would have just searched restaurants near me. Yep. And started looking at which one we want to go to. And But now it's, hey, Gemini, I'm looking for a restaurant. I want it to be family friendly, fairly diverse meal, something with fish on it because my wife doesn't really like meat, and I can give it all of the things. And then and I want the rating to be 4.2 or better, And now I got a pretty good list I can work with.
Can we keep the per plate price down to like less than $50?
Yeah, exactly. And now I can take action so much more quickly. So even when it's not doing the work for me, it enables me to take action in a much, much more efficient way.
Well, it even goes deeper than that too, because it will remember that conversation.
Yes.
And if you tell it that, my wife is allergic to fish.
Right.
Or, like my kid's got a gluten intolerance, it'll remember that. It'll store it in the memory. We had somebody in office who refused to turn on Claude's memory. I was like, you're basically just like, you've turned on dumb mode for your AI. And my Claude knows all these things about me. If I had to generate a summary, it would be pretty comprehensive. But it's like every time it gives me answers, it's giving me answers in context of things it knows about me, what's important to me, past conversations I've had.
Right.
And it's able to give a much better, much more honed answer because it's becoming a domain expert in me.
Right.
And it can speak in my voice and it can use my reasoning for a lot of this stuff.
Right. And like you said, what you've told it about the people around you. Hey, Marc likes skiing, that sort of a thing. So when something comes up.
Yeah, in our corporate account, like I've done a whole org chart design. I've talked about all my direct reports. I've talked about the challenges that we're going through, strategically where we want to go. It knows all this context. It has an org chart built into it, so it knows who reports to who. It understands the structure of the business.
Right.
And so as it's answering questions, it's answering from my perspective and challenging me is like, because SaaS is a fairly wide field, there's been a lot written about it. It can give me more perspective that, oh, well, did you know about this? Did you know about that? Things that I know, but maybe I didn't know about this particular approach or something I should have considered as a SaaS CEO.
Right.
Because no one goes to school for fleet management, chances are you were never formally trained on how to successfully lead a fleet. That's where the Fleet Success Playbook comes in. The Fleet Success Playbook is your guide to building a safe, reliable, and efficient fleet that provides exceptional service. Learn all about the 4 pillars of fleet success: stakeholder satisfaction, intentional culture, resource efficiency, and risk management. Get nearly 100 years of combined advice on common challenges, practical solutions, actionable tips, and real examples from fleet industry experts who have been there and done that. Visit www.fleetsuccessplaybook.com to request your free copy today.
So I asked Jacob this question, but I wanted to hear your perspective too. Maybe it'll be the same, maybe it won't be. Again, we have a wide variety of people here, even at this conference, right? You've talked to people who are clear power users. They're into it as much as we are.
Yeah, like Al Curtis, like his entire presentation, he's a ChatGPT heavy ChatGPT user.
Yeah, and then you have folks who are scared of it. They don't want to totally admit that they haven't even looked at it yet. You know what I mean? And then you probably have a lot of folks who are just kind of in between, right?
They'll use it occasionally, dally in it. Yep.
Right. What are your advice? What would you let's stratify that into those 3 groups, right? The power user, the middle of the road, and the someone who really hasn't embraced it yet. What would be your advice to them today, based on what you know about the topic, what would you suggest to them?
To each group?
Yeah, let's try it. Because I didn't ask
Okay.
Jacob that way. I just said in general, and he focused on the people who really haven't embraced it. So
Those are the easy
expand
ones
it.
to pick on.
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Well, let's
So I'll
start there.
there.
Yeah, okay.
And the thing I tell my team is we're all a bunch of gazelles and there's a cheetah coming after us, right? There's a cheetah coming after
Oh,
the
yeah, I
job.
love
And
this.
depending if you believe the AI doomsayers or not, that AI is going to wipe out all these white collar jobs. It's not going to hit blue collar yet, but man, they're working on robots. I don't know if you've seen like the Optimus or the Atlas robots from Boston Dynamics,
They're
like
freaking amazing, man.
factory workers. They're building factory
yeah.
workers. So
I
just
believe that's going to be how we solve the technician shortage, not with people.
long term.
Yeah.
We're probably 5-10 years out, but the way that this is going, it might be faster. So those people that have their head stuck in the sand, they're resisting it, right? There's always, whenever there's a technology wave, there's always those people, right? These are the people that still want phone books in the age of the internet.
Yes.
Right. It's just like, I prefer pen and paper versus, my iPad or using Apple Notes. And what I tell my team is, look, when there's a gazelle and there's a cheetah coming after you, right? This is disruption. This is the industrial evolution on steroids with the speed of change. You have two choices. It's fight, flight, or freeze, right? And if you freeze, the cheetah's going to get you, right? The cheetah goes after the sick and the weary, and it will gobble you up. So you don't have to be the fastest gazelle. You don't have to be the one that's out in front and trying to learn all the things and be on the edge case, but you do have to move.
Right.
You can't stay still.
Right.
And so my advice to those people is you do have to get engaged. You do have to move. You don't have to do a lot, but at least once a week, be in it, learning it, go through what I did and just be like, Claude, can you teach me how to up level my, how I use you?
Right.
What would be the next thing you'd recommend to improve my usage of you?
Right.
That I can better use you, that I better understand you. What are 5 questions I should know the answers to?
Yeah.
Right. When it comes to ChatGPT or to Claude. And it's amazing as a mentor. It'll give you the guidance.
Yeah.
And like mine, it's like, how much do you want to study? I was like, I could probably do 3 to 4 hours a week.
Okay.
And so it built a curriculum. It's like, all right, if you come in, you can commit to 3 to 4 hours a week. You will be almost a certified expert in the next 12 weeks. Right.
Wow.
Now, obviously the puck moves and things like that, but you can go that route. Now,
wait, I want to pause you on there for a second, because that's something that's different about this technology. And you've actually been talking about it the whole time, but I want to call it out. It's different than any other new technology that's ever come across us, which is it will teach itself to you, and you don't need some sort of advanced degree to understand what it's teaching.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're just talking about right now, right?
Like the internet couldn't teach you how to use the internet.
Right.
Somebody else had to teach you. And then like once you got that first little bit of, you go to YouTube. Now, remember when the internet came out, YouTube didn't exist.
Right.
But somebody had to teach you how to use the internet.
Right.
Somebody had to teach you how to code. Somebody had to teach you how to program. Right. All this stuff is like new capabilities. But somebody else usually had to teach you. You had to go read a book. You had to go look to an external source to figure out how to do that. Right. We're still doing that same thing, but this one's like accessible and customizable. Right. Like if you're studying out of a book, well, that's a book that somebody wrote for the masses.
Right.
Claude is writing a book for you.
Yeah, that's
based on your needs and your capabilities, right? It knows that I'm fairly technical, so it can give me fairly technical instructions. If you're a fleet manager who's like, no, I've been turning wrenches all my life, it knows it's going to bring the language down. It's not going to talk about concepts out here. It's going to explain them in words that you understand, right? And then teach you a concept little by little, as you're ready for it. And I love that. It's like having your own personal tutor at your fingertips.
I mean, that's invaluable, man. Mm-hmm. Like when you think about it.
And even in fleet management, like there's not a lot written about fleet management.
No, there's not.
But there's enough that it can kind of do an okay job at that.
Right.
I want to come back to that one though, because there's specific things you can do to make that better. Let's talk about the mid crowd.
Yeah.
So the mid crowd is just, you're doing what you need to be doing, which is you're using it, you're trying it, you're moving. Try to move a little faster. Try to figure out like, where aren't you using it? Where do you need to get better in your usage of it?
Right.
What do you need to be aware of that you're not aware of today?
Right.
Is it security concerns? Is it, new tools that have come out? Maybe you're really stuck in chat and you're an awesome chat power user. Have you tried co-work yet?
Right.
Have you unlocked the power of what that can do and why it's different?
Right.
Have you tried really branching out? I don't think there's a lot of fleet managers who are doing Claude Code, but that would be fascinating. Is like, have they seen the power of Claude Code yet? If you're really good at Claude, or you feel pretty good at whatever tool you're using, maybe you're a ChatGPT user, have you tried some of the others that are out there, like Replit or Lovable?
Right.
I just showed one of our guys how to use Replit, and there's some serious advantages to like a tool like Replit versus Claude Code.
Right.
Claude Code, by the way.
Replit's pretty cool.
Replit's pretty awesome. One of my biggest complaints about Claude is the lack of collaboration. right? And so as you and I are working on a project together,
Yeah.
we can share a project, but we can't share chats.
Right.
I can share a chat that I've had, but you can't see any new chat that I get.
Right.
And I can't see anything that you take from that point forward. So it's like these little historical mile markers.
Yes.
And the only other way to do that is like we could do it in Slack, and then Claude can read the context, but it can't output to the Slack channel for me and like engage with me in that conversation.
Right.
It's super annoying is that we can't, chat with it like we go to another teammate.
Right.
When Claude figures this out, it's a game.
Yeah,
like
it's
they
all
will,
over.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. Like
Yeah.
that will be the tool that teams use, and it's going to be like having another teammate in your office. And I'm looking forward to that day.
Yeah.
So I showed my teammate this other tool called Replit, which is basically like you can build anything that you can imagine, any app, anything
Right.
like that. You don't need to know anything about databases or network or anything like that. Claude Code, you have to set up, what's called a Git repository.
Right.
You've got to set up PowerShell if you're on Windows, right? Or,
And it'll help you do that.
it will
very
guide you
well.
through that entire thing. It walked my VP of sales through the whole process.
Yes.
And he's not technical, right?
No.
But at the same time, I'm going through this step and I'm running into errors, and I'm like, I know how to fix this. Why am I running into these errors? And
Right.
so it walked me through how to, just to make sure I did it right. But it's not as like out of the box.
Right. Replit
easy.
comes out and that's kind of done for you.
But
Essentially.
my favorite feature of Replit is that I can co-build.
Yeah.
And so you and I can share a project together, and I'm chatting, I'm giving it the context. And then I say, by the way, like, what answers do you need from Marc in this project, right?
Right,
And here's
right.
a little profile on Marc. In this case, Sam, my CFO, and I were working on something. So it knows that he's a CFO, and so it's going to ask him CFO type questions.
Sure.
And so as we're working on a project together, we can both see each other's inputs and answers. We can answer questions at the same time.
Right.
And then we can see the output. We can draw on things together. We can drag and drop.
Right.
Like it's a collaborative
It calls out
designer.
conflicts between the things you guys have said. Yes. Yeah.
And it's fascinating to me. But as a tool, like that's my favorite, like collaborative builder right now.
Sure.
If you're in that mid ground though, you've probably dabbled a little bit and you're doing some things.
Right.
Try some other areas. Try some other
Right.
tools. Like
Try
get
other tools. Yeah.
at least just get to. I'm going to call it being a little bit of a polyglot.
Okay.
When we talk about technical capabilities, when I look at engineers, the number one thing that I look for is how quick can they learn? Do they have aptitude?
Right.
Right. If they can learn, if they know one language really, really, really well, but they've never learned another language, it's like speaking to somebody who's not bilingual.
Right.
But once you've learned that second language, it's
Yeah.
much easier to pick up the third and
Yes,
the
so
fourth.
true. Yeah.
And so when I look for people that we call them polyglots, is that they understand many things.
Uh-huh.
And an AI that's going to be very similar too, which is why I go back to that first point, which is there's different tools that are better at different things than the original tool.
Right.
Claude's really good at being a thought partner with me.
Yes.
So is Grok, by the way, if you haven't tried Grok.
Yeah.
There, I just dropped another AI tool, right? There's a million of these things.
Go try them all.
You don't, don't try them all. Try another one.
It's like
Right,
it's
just
like a
try one
commercial,
more. Yeah.
Collect them all. Pokemon.
It is
cards.
totally Pokemon AI. You're right. But that would be my thing if you're in the middle of the road, is just like go find another tool that you haven't played with before and go try that out.
Right.
Or ask Claude, like, hey, Claude, what's the AI landscape look like today? And what are the strengths of each of the AI players?
Right.
If you were going to go pick one other tool to go learn, which would it be and why? Right? Like that's a great prompt.
Right.
So it just is, don't stay stuck, right? Just because you started moving doesn't mean you get to stop moving now that you just moved ahead a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like all you did was went from the 0-yard line to the 10-yard line. Well, that cheetah's still in the end zone.
Yeah.
So don't stop.
Right.
Keep going.
Right.
Keep moving the ball forward. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on LinkedIn or leave a review. Want to learn more about our fleet management software, Fleet 360? Check us out at rtafleet.com. If you want to learn more about having your fleet evaluated by our consulting team, go to fleetconsulting.com.